and welcome to Maths class. Today we're looking at calculating normal probabilities, and essentially what we're doing in this little video is learning how to use our calculators to do that. Now in the previous video we looked at using the equation of the graph on the equation of the normal curve on our CAS to do an integral to calculate probabilities. So in the question that I've got there, suppose that Z is a standard normal variable and we want to find the probability that a certain value Z is going to lie between -1.5 and 0.5. So it's a standard normal variable, of course, which means that the mean is 0 and the standard deviation is 1. So what we previously did on the CAS is we wrote out the equation and then we entered in our boundaries, -1.5. Oops, don't need two negatives there. And what am I going up to? 0.5. Okay, and then I just enter that in and I come up with an answer of 0.62465. So let's call it 0.62467. I'll just jot it down. What did I decide it was? 0.6247. Okay. Of course, what you don't want to have to do is enter in the formula every time. And because the normal distribution and the standard normal distribution are used so frequently, your CAS is ready for that. So what we're going to do is look at how to do that in our CAS without needing to enter formulas. And it's very straightforward. So what we're going to do is we go to interactive. We go down to distribution. It's all very predictable. Distribution. Okay, what are we in? Normal. Is it discrete or continuous? Yes, it's continuous. And there it is. Now we want the CDF. That's what we're always going to click. And notice that it comes up automatically with the standard values of the mean of 0 and the standard deviation of 1. So in this question, we don't need to change those. We just enter our lower and upper boundaries. So we're going from -1.5 up to 0.5. Oops. Oh, hang on. 0.5. We hit enter. And we get the same answer. Not as many decimal places, you notice. So it's enough decimal places for us. I'm not going to enter it again. So what I want to do now is look at the next example, the probability that Z is greater than 1.5. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So let's get started. Interactive, distribution, continuous, normal CDF. Now it's greater than 1.5. So 1.5 now is my lower boundary. My upper boundary is going to be infinity. Now you are not going to be able to see when I enter. I'm going to my keyboard and it's in Math 2 and there's my infinity symbol, okay? So I'm just going to ask my calculator to take me from 1.5 all the way up to infinity, hit OK, and there's my value, 0.0668. So let's jot it down. Whoops. And that's all there is to it. So let's just very quickly do an example that is not a standard normal. So we'll have to change the mean and the standard deviation. So I'll just adjust this so you can see the question. So I'm looking for the probability that X is less than 130 for a normally distributed value with a mean of 180 and a standard deviation of 65. So I go interactive, distribution, continuous, normal CDF. My lower boundary now is going to be, now it's X is less than 130, so my lower boundary is going to be -infinity. My upper boundary is 130. My standard deviation is 65 and my mean is 180. Okay. Let's calculate it. 0.2209. I'm just going to 4 decimal places each time. Or what was it? 0.2209. Done. That's all there is to it. It's really straightforward. However, there is something that is, well, sorry, before I go on to the next thing, there is another technique that you can use. So I'm going to go back and show you that now. So instead of being in the main, what we can do is go to the menu, and I'm going to go to statistics. And now what I'm going to do is calculation. So I go to calc, and then I go, it's a distribution. So I'm going to go to distribution. What kind of distribution is it? I'm going to choose normal CD. Okay, and then just hit next, and then just answer the questions. So let's do the same one. This is a normal CD, and I've got a lower boundary of negative infinity. Need my keyboard again for that. It's on the math 2. And then my upper boundary is still 130. Change my standard deviation to 65 and my mean to 180. And let's see what happens. Okay, so it's given me these calculations here. I've got a probability now, I'm told, of 0.2209. Don't worry about the other information, but basically everything is there. So there are two different techniques that you can use to do this calculation. Okay. All right. So now I am going to show you something different, because the next kind of question is slightly different, and it's basically an inverse calculation. So what I want you to do is, first of all, just have a look at the example that's given here. Suppose X is normally distributed with a mean of 10 and a standard deviation of 2. So we need to calculate K, and this time we're told correct to 3 decimal places. So this is an inverse calculation, because in this case we're told the probability and we're looking for those boundaries. But the good news is this is just a question of finding the right function on your CAS. Your CAS can basically do this for you. So we have to use something called the inverse normal CDF. And we need to know our tail setting, and I'm going to go and look at a graph to explain to you what I mean by the tail setting. So one moment. So what I've got there is a sketch of my normal curve, and I've put my mean there. And if you remember that my standard deviation is 2, that means that this value here is going to be 12, because it's 1 standard deviation to the right of the mean. And this will be 14 and 16 and 18. And this here will be 8 and 6 and 4 and 2. So I don't know what this value represents, but the mean value is 10, and it doesn't deviate much from 10. It gets down to about 4 or 6 and up to about 14 or 16. So that's my graph. Now, what I'm asked to calculate, let's go back to the question just for a moment, if I can find it. Yep, there it is. I need to know if X is less than or equal to some value K, then my probability is going to be 0.65. Okay, don't want to cross it out. My probability is 0.65 when X is less than or equal to K. So let's go back to my graph. I know that if X is less than or equal to 10, that's going to be this whole half of the graph. So this is 50% of my values here, right? So the probability that X is less than or equal to 10 is going to be 0.5. I need it to be bigger than that. Now, I don't know exactly how big it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be somewhere here. Maybe it's going to be further to the right of this standard deviation. But let's just pick a point on my graph and call it K. So I'm just drawing this diagram so that I can show you what it is I'm asking my calculator to do. I'm basically saying if I go from negative infinity in this direction up to some value K, then what is the probability that X is in that range? So the probability that X is less than or equal to K is 0.65. I know the probability. It's this whole shaded region is 0.65. So what's K? Now my calculator can do it. So let's have a look at how. So if I look again at these instructions, I'm going to use inverse normal CDF. And I've just done the diagram to help me work out what I'm calculating. The tail setting is left when we want x is less than or equal to k. And that tail setting is basically this part of the diagram. It's saying we want to know, we're going from the left to negative infinity and then up to k. So we're going to the left of k. So that is something that our calculator is going to ask for. So let's bring our CAS back up and let's start doing that. So I'm going into main and I'm going to interactive, but this time when I go to distribution, I'm going to choose inverse because I'm doing an inverse calculation, and I go inverse norm CDF, the very first one. My tail setting is already on left, and that is what I want because the values that I want, the probabilities, are to the left of k. The probability that I'm looking for is 0.65, and I need to change my mean and standard deviation. So my standard deviation is 2 and my mean is 10, and I hit OK. All right, and it tells me 10.7706, but I believe that the question only wanted 3 decimal places. Let's double check. Yes, 3 decimal places. So the answer is 10.77, hang on, what was it? 771. That's a 7 and a 1 because it was 7706. So if I go back to my diagram just to make clear what I've calculated, obviously I've drawn k a little bit too much to the right. It should actually have been just a bit more than 10 here, but k is equal to 10.771, which is going to be somewhere here. All right, so that's what we calculated. Let's do another example. Let's finish the same example, I should say. Now I need to calculate x is greater than k is equal to 0.85. So if I do a quick sketch now, I don't need to draw the sketch in detail that I showed you before. All that I want to know is here's my mean of 10, and 0.85 is going to be a fairly substantial probability, most of my graphs. So let's put k here for this second example, and I'm looking to the right because x is greater than, so I'm going to have a right tail setting. But I don't need to write infinity. I just say a right tail setting, and my probability is 0.85, and I do it exactly the same way. So let's do it again. Interactive, distribution. This one is an inverse because I know the probabilities and I'm calculating the values. Inverse norm CDF. This time it's a right tail. My probability is 0.85. My standard deviation is still 2 and the mean is still 10. And it's going to give me 7.92. Now that fits with what I expected. Look at where I drew it. I knew it would be substantially to the left because 0.85 is going to be a big chunk of the graph is shaded. Remember, if I shade the whole graph, that's going to be a probability of 1. So whatever fraction of 1 I've got, that's the portion of the graph that will be shaded. So the probability, and I've written the wrong thing here. This should be k equals, and here I'm going to do it again. K equals, what did I get? 7.927. Okay, so that's my inverse calculation. The other thing that is worth noticing here is that if I wanted to, for whatever reason, I can always also use any symmetry properties of the graph. So basically the probability that x is less than 7.927 is going to equal 1 minus the probability that x is greater than 7.927. In other words, this shaded area plus this shaded area has to equal 1. So if this shaded area is 0.5, then this area to the left here has to be is 0.85, then this is 0.15. So if I wanted to, I could use a left tail and the value of 0.15 instead of a right tail with the value of 0.85, and I would actually get the same answer. Now, the other thing I just want to point out here is this less than or equal to versus greater than, because I know that someone is sitting there and thinking, how come we don't show the difference between the less than and the less than or equal to in our CAS anywhere? If you remember, the probability that X equals the exact value of K is always going to be 0. Therefore, the probability that X is less than this number and the probability that X is less than or equal to this number is actually going to give me the same answer. Okay, this was something we talked about when we first met continuous distributions, and the normal, of course, is an example of that. The probability that X takes on one individual value is 0 because there are an infinite number of possible values. Therefore, the probability that any particular exact one of them is chosen is 0, which is why we always talk in intervals. What's the probability that I'm between this and this value? Okay, so remember that you can always use the symmetry if you needed to do that calculation. Okay, and that's the end of our video on calculating probabilities.